From coq au vin, tuna niçoise and quiche Lorraine, France is renowned for having the best cuisine in the world. And to celebrate this fact, every year in March, restaurants in 150 countries cook a French meal as part of an event called Good France. And our reporters in South Africa have been to meet a chef who's bringing some ooh la la to Johannesburg.
Wandile Mabaso is not just any chef. Born in Soweto, he travelled the world for 10 years, driven by his passion cooking. He is talented and has also been lucky.
I never thought I could, experience this, because it's something that was not planned. I never thought I'd go, but when I was in New York, I got the opportunity, and I got the opportunity at a later stage in my career to go to France, and so it was a pleasant surprise and a very good experience as well.
He was working in a French restaurant in New York when celebrity chef Alain Ducasse noticed his potential and offered him a job in his best outlets. Today, Chef Wandile wants to pass on the cooking techniques he masters.
See how it turns more green.
Two of his protégés have received bursaries to be trained in Hotel Le Maurice, where he learnt his skills.
It's an excellent opportunity. It's one of a kind. Not everybody gets this opportunity.
Work is hard during the day to prepare for the evening's customers, but as they arrive, they are immediately called to the kitchen. This is an interactive restaurant.
Okay, so we're going to start with the meat. I'm going to demonstrate now how we're going to do it, and then you're going to do it by yourselves. Okay? Whoa.
The customers are trying to cook to perfection their lamb medallions.
Okay, if this is too rare for you, we're going to put it in the oven. It's not the end of the world. But for me, this is the right way to eat it. In French, they call it rosé. Rosé is like this. Okay? And that's how all the French people eat it.
People are pleased with the experience, and Chef Wandile is building a name.
I say yay today because I'm a black person, and for a person of color to be representing in Paris, it's quite a phenomenal achievement.
The South African chef uses simple gestures to show the subtle details of French cuisine.
It's an art. It's an art and a passion and a way of life.
The evening often ends with a photo shoot, pictures of the dishes that customers have meticulously cooked and will thoroughly enjoy.
I love it. Please take a photo of this plate.
People from everywhere dream of taking a cooking class in one of our famous schools here in France. If you want to become a Gallic god or goddess of gastronomy, this is the place to be. Let's take a guided tour now of one of Paris's écoles de cuisine.
A garden in the sky, set against the backdrop of the Eiffel Tower. Fresh fruit, vegetables and herbs are cultivated on the roof of Paris's Cordon Bleu school. For its director, local produce is at the heart of French gastronomy.
In France, we're lucky enough to be able to cook with a lot of ingredients. We're a very rich and diverse country in terms of produce, so our gastronomy is influenced and infused by each region in France.
For more than 120 years, the crème de la crème of the culinary world have passed through these doors. From America's Julia Child to Peru's Gaston Acurio. For some, this is a chance to turn a passion into a profession.
I spent 23 years in investment banking and decided I wanted a bit of a blank canvas and really wanted to see what else was out there. A banking trading floor, it's very, very similar to a restaurant kitchen. You do your preparation before the market opens, as you do in a restaurant before the restaurant opens.
The school trains 20,000 aspiring chefs from over 100 countries each year. The classes are taught in French and simultaneously translated into English. And it's not just haute cuisine on the menu. Students can learn how to bake a buttery croissant or sniff out the best wine as part of a hospitality course.
We'll make something in class one day and someone will say, this reminds me of like such and such dessert that we have back home, like let's say in South Korea or someone else in Colombia. You also get the French culture because, you know, all of the chefs here are French. You are in France. We're learning traditional French cuisine as well. So it's nice to have that balance.
At 23 years old, American Kendall Grinstead has had nearly a decade of experience in the kitchen, and she hopes the current social climate will stir up change in the industry.
There are so many talented female chefs all over the world. They're finally be given the opportunity to expand and explore and have their voices heard through their dishes.
Thanks to the Cordon Bleu, French gastronomy is being served up on a plate to a new generation of aspiring chefs.
Give us the name of a famous female chef.
Je sais pas du tout.
Non. Ah, je ne connais pas du tout de chef cuisinier, désolé.
Non, je connais pas trop ici les femmes cuisinières.
Non. Non, je connais pas le nom.
Only 5% of French chefs are women. They remain a tiny minority in the often macho and highly competitive world of haute cuisine. But things are slowly changing.
I got a hunch, girl, that you're hungry too. Cooking, gonna make us some food now.
Brazilian-born Alessandra Montagne has been running her own restaurant Tempero in Paris's 13th district since 2012. Her philosophy: zero waste, fresh local produce, and prices affordable for all.
I love their smell.
You have some apples from the Paris region, of course. What are you going to do with them?
Well, I'm going to use the flesh to do a little apple puree with rosemary, and with the skin, I'll do a sorbet. How nice do these look? Wonderful, wonderful.
Super beau, super, super, super.
Alessandra, why do you think there are so few female chefs in French kitchens and on TV cookery programs?
Il n'y a pas beaucoup de femmes chefs parce que les femmes ont un peu du mal à reprendre leur place.
There are not a lot of female chefs because women struggle to find a place in the kitchen, as it's often teams of mainly men, so there's a macho vibe. So women struggle to impose themselves and climb up the ranks to become head chefs. You have to have a strong character and strength, not just physically but psychologically, to head up a team. You need to impose your style of working, and it's not always easy. Go on, two croustillons here, for table 7, let's go.
Let's go, let's go.
Next, table 11.
Alessandra is a very down-to-earth chef. You see it also in her food and in the energy of the restaurant. We're all very together, not at all competitive. I don't think it has anything to do with her being a woman. It's just her way of working.
Service, please.
And you're taking part in Good France. What are you going to prepare for us today?
So for the Good France event, I'm making pork confit. This pork has been cooking for 17 hours, and at the last moment, I pop it under the grill to make it nice and crispy. I'm going to pair it with some vegetables from the region and a little pork-based sauce. A little sauce and turnips. Red onions, some pickles and mustard.
Voilà.
Voila,
Une assiette.
a typical dish, 100% Franco-Brazilian.
What makes this a typical French dish?
Eh ben, parce que toute la technique.
Well, the whole technique is French. The pork was confit, the celery's a mousse, and the vegetables are glazed.
Et les légumes ont été glacés.
It looks so beautiful. I don't really know what to... Je prends quoi?
Oui. Alors, commence avec
Well, start with a little bit of pork, then a little bit of vegetables.
Un petit peu de légumes.
That celery, it's been nicely smoked.
Bon appétit.
It's delicious.
Merci.
So what advice would you give to people out there watching, women, on how to become a chef and have your own restaurant?
You have to work hard, be driven, and love cooking. If I made it, anyone else can.
Alessandra, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Bon appétit to me.
Bon appétit.